Welcome back to my channel, everyone. If you're new here, my name is Lorena, and I am a family constellation therapist, an Akashic record reader, a flower essence therapist, and I do a bunch of other things as well. But today I'm here to finally talk about family constellations. It is something that I am very passionate about because it's helped me quite a lot. It's helped me on my healing journey with physical, emotional, and just kind of spiritual things. And I have been doing this for about a year. I studied for about 2 years, and it's been a journey. It was a lot of my own healing journey studying this tool. And I think it is a tool that not a lot of people even realize exists. So I thought it'd be a good idea to just do like a little video, explain obviously what family constellations are, how they can help, and how I kind of offer this service to people. So Um, family constellations is a therapeutic tool. So it's a tool that you look at conflict, you look at blocks, you look at patterns, issues, um, pretty much anything showing up in your life that you feel kind of doesn't resonate or gets in the way of you living this full, peaceful life. You look at it through the lens of the family system. This doesn't mean I think a lot of the things a lot of people sometimes say, well, does my mom and dad or my sister or my brother or my aunt or uncle have to be there? No. This is something that you can do one-on-one with somebody. You can do this in group, but even then you wouldn't bring your family. This would be something you work through in a group setting or in an individual setting. And I'll go into that a little bit later. But family constellations has been something that's been around for a while. I'm not going to get into the history of it, but it was created by Bert Hellinger. So there's quite a lot under that. Maybe I can do a video if you guys are interested, but I kind of want to just talk about the tool itself today. So everything's kind of observed through the lens of the family system. And why is this? Because it is understood that everything kind of originates from our family, from our experiences, from our trauma, from our dynamics growing up. And this could go also into patterns in the family system generationally. You know, we can hold on to things unconsciously for generations, like 3, 4, 5 generations even. And I see this a lot with clients. I've seen this with myself as well, like holding on to my mother's pain or something with my father or my grandfather. And every family is its own little world, right? And we sometimes don't even know about things that have happened in our family, but we may be unconsciously, sometimes consciously, but mostly unconsciously holding on to it. Um, so it is something that we're experiencing today. So we're going to go and work on something that's affecting us personally. It's always about focusing on us when we go into a family constellation. And from there, working on things in with a therapist, with a practitioner, and pretty much just seeing everything through the lens of the family. So many things can come up. But I just want to give kind of an example of what a session could look like. There's many ways to work in a session of this kind of tool, right? Of family constellations. Some people will work with a board and little dolls. I'll insert like a little photo here if I can. You can also work with the person kind of standing up and stepping into, like, you can have a little piece of paper that says different things on it. You'd step into the energy and step out. If I were working physically with somebody, like if they were to come to me or I'd go to them, I'd have different ways to do that as well. But you can pretty much work with anything. In a group setting, you'd usually have individuals that represent different family members step into the role of that person. So, for example, you'd have somebody represent your father, somebody represent your mother, and they would connect to that energy. This is energetic work. So, even though we're looking at everything through the lens of the family, it is energetic work. It moves and shifts everything. Not only for yourself, because obviously you may bring something forward and we can go into understanding the intentions. It's not only going to be obviously amazing for you to work through things and shift things for yourself, but it helps everybody in your family system. It helps shift everything. And obviously, we have to see with everybody, everybody's kind of family is different, everybody's issues are different. We're going to constellate different things. So depending on what you're bringing forward and depending how deep and how ancestral it is, I mean, sometimes, I mean, I've healed things with one session. like chronic pain in one session. I've healed sometimes things in several sessions. It really kind of depends. But I find that it's such an interesting tool because some of us don't even realize the power that like our family and the things that we've been through, that our mom and our dad have been through, our grandparents, our great grandparents, how all that can unconsciously affect us. And the thing that started to blow my mind when I was personally, getting constellations from other therapists was how I was holding on to pain. And I didn't even realize it. I was repeating a pattern unconsciously in my family, right? Of something that wasn't healed, something that wasn't grieved, hardships. This could be also beliefs very much. Um, I work more in the personal setting with individuals, but there are constellators that focus more on the organizational side of things. So they would work with a business or a company or an organization, for example, and help them organize things and get everything aligned so that the business can start flowing. For some, it might be that, I don't know, maybe like the individuals in the company aren't getting along, people aren't seeing eye to eye. This could be several things. But in general, it'll help kind of release, organize, put things in their place, and help things flow with more ease. My goal always in a constellation is to kind of just observe, right? And as a practitioner, you observe, you allow the person to kind of bring the issue forward, and they'll connect to it through the field. So there's an energetic field. We allow things to move, we observe, we feel. This work is very much about being in your body. And I, as a practitioner, would guide you to make sure that you're connecting and you're feeling and constantly reminding you and asking you the right questions, right? And a lot of people are like, well, I know I want to work on this, but I'm not really sure how it connects. You don't have to know anything. You're going to connect to it in the constellation. You're going to feel it. It's going to energetically move through you. So it's just energetic work. That's the best way I can describe it. It's very hard to kind of put it into words sometimes, but anything that you're going through today can be worked on in a family constellation, as long as it's focused on you, obviously. So, for example, some things you could constellate. Physical symptoms, right? We're kind of just starting off in this energy of understanding that every symptom, everything in our body is saying something to us. We're not going to be in this energetically ill or symptomatic state if there isn't something going on. So there's something that we need to see, observe, feel, release, and move through. And a lot of times, certain energetic things in our body, like for example, in my case, to give you a really good example, this was very long time ago, years ago. I was having like excruciating pain in my hip where I couldn't run, cycle, or do anything. I kind of just stopped working out for a really long time. And I got MRIs and I went to like physical therapy and I did all the things. I went to the doctors, I took the pills, I did everything, and it wasn't going away. And I was like, what's going on here? So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go constellate. And the pain was gone within an hour after that constellation. It was crazy. I'm not saying it always works that way. I know my energy is pretty open to the tool itself. And I was working with a really good constellator. And I was so sick of this pain, it was holding me back. And realizing that it was holding on to my mom's pain for something she hadn't fully grieved. And I think this goes a little further back. Obviously, we moved through that in the session. I also very much feel everything in my body. I'm very connected to my body and my emotions most of the time, especially when I'm in kind of that environment and somebody's guiding me. To me, it becomes quite easy. So as long as you're kind of open to that experience, it's pretty easy for things to move through and energetically kind of just settle or move or shift so that you can feel differently. So anything physical, I mean, there's a lot of times that we can get certain quote unquote diseases and they're coming from pain that's not healed in our family. Somebody went through something. We unconsciously repeat everything that's not healed. And at some point in that line, that family line, that timeline, somebody has to look at it. It can't be ignored. So a lot of times I feel like the people that come to me are here to kind of shift everything in their family. They're here to heal everything that hasn't been healed. And we are like at a time right now where I think a lot of that is just like you do it now and move through it, and it moves so quickly sometimes when we're so open, right? And we have to just trust that. Other things that we can constellate would be relationships. So, you want to have a more peaceful relationship. You want to move through some emotions that you might be feeling towards a family member or a person, your partner, a friend, your boss. It could be work, it could be anything. Anything that we feel is getting in the way of our peace, our alignment, and feeling that we're kind of connected to our life and what's going on and what's in front of us. So, symptoms, relationships, things with ourselves, right? For example, I feel like I self-sabotage. I feel like I'm in this pattern that I can't get out of. I want to start this project, but I can't. It's just everything keeps getting in the way of it. Um, it could be, for example, for some people that have come to me like money blocks, like like physical and emotional and mental blocks, and looking at certain blocks in our life, blocks with health, blocks with weight loss, blocks with money, blocks with feeling like we can start a project, or blocks with certain kind of ideas that we have in our life, or getting clarity on certain things. For some people, it's this energy of, I want to open myself up to finding the clarity in my life, to find my purpose and mission. I feel like I'm not able to see or feel, or I'm disconnected from my desire or from my will to kind of move forward, or my drive or my ambition. Could really be anything here. Um, but connecting more even just to life, like I just want to feel more connected to my life and be more present. Like these kinds of things are things that we can look at. Um, and it's interesting, the things that come up in a constellation. It's wonderful and it can move so much energy, it can be very, very emotional. And I find that it just helps everything. So the way I work is on Zoom, the same way I would do an Akashic record reading. So somebody would come to me, and what I would do is basically have about a 15, 20, maybe 30-minute chat, depending on how deep we go, or if the person's a bit confused on what they want to work on. I kind of ask you questions, and we get to a very concise and kind of like an objective, right? An intention. It needs to be positive. There has to be quite a few little things there, but I help you get to that so that we can have a very clear intention when we go into the constellation and work through whatever it is that you need that day. Um, and then we would have the constellation, which is usually 45 to 60 minutes. With that, that's more than enough time to move through. And the way I explain to anybody that asks me, like, how do you heal through a family constellation? For me, it's like two big ways. One, it's observing, because I always explain like constellations, like has nothing to do with astrology, right? The name is just kind of a constellation, because imagine looking up to the sky and seeing a constellation of stars. It's like a formation, right? It's like almost like a map. So a constellation, the first part is observing, seeing what's internal to you and your family system outside of you. I use a board and little dolls that represent different family members and things. It could be abstract things like blocks or symptoms, for example. So observing that a lot of times can be eye-opening for some people. They don't realize what's going on and where they're involved, or where their place is within that conflict, right? Or their family even. So it can be hugely healing, just that aspect of it for many and most. And then the second part are the healing phrases. So as things kind of come up in the constellation, like I said, I'm guided by what you bring up, what you feel, what you're connected to. And from there, I can kind of get this sense of what kind of healing phrases that you can resonate with. And there's a series of kind of like healing phrases that we would use depending on what's going on, what you're feeling, what we need to heal, because there's different aspects. And I'll go into more technical things if you guys like. Obviously, I'm kind of generalizing and going into how it works, but we can go into specifics of like the three systemic laws and the energy around those and how those show up when things aren't aligned. Um, but we can observe that in the constellation, see what's not in order, what's not in its place, and put it back into its place energetically. And it's wonderful when someone can connect to a healing phrase, feel it in their body, speak it, because obviously I'll have you say that out loud and feel it in your body and feel it in your kind of your chest, your heart. And that can move so many emotions, and it moves the energy in the entire family system. Remember, this is energetic work. You're also connecting to, as we use the healing phrases, you're connecting to the board and everything that's on there, that energetic field, and able to feel things differently. Things will shift as we have these healing phrases kind of connect to us, our soul. This is very deep soul work, energetic work. So with those two things, it sounds very almost like, I don't know, um, it sounds almost like how, you know what I mean? Like you kind of question yourself, like how. It's profound. The realizations that one can have in a constellation and moving that energy can be, for me, life-changing, obviously. I'll definitely do like separate videos on my own experience with family constellations and the specific things I've healed. If you guys are interested, just let me know in the comments. So with those two things, we move a lot of energy. And then the most important part, the work is done, right, in that constellation, and we're done. We leave that behind, we let it go. Post family constellation session, I always tell people a few things, right? And things to take into consideration. This might be if you're getting a family constellation, or not. Like if you're just interested in this tool, just to understand how it works. Since it is energetic work, we need to sit with it. It needs to integrate within us. Like any kind of energetic and soul work, like I said, in my case, I kind of let the pain go out of my body, but it was still sitting with me when I went to go consulate this pain in my hip. Um, but for most, it's a process that happens over days, weeks, months for some people, right? So it's honoring that timing. And I always tell people, a couple weeks after the constellation, try not to talk about it because talking about it a lot of times gets us in our head and we start to overanalyze things instead of sitting emotionally with it. So that's one thing, right? And then the second part is kind of not repeating, like if you're working on something now, not trying to do another constellation a week or 2 weeks or even 3 weeks later. I always tell people space it out at least a month apart so that you can really sit with that energy and allow it to shift within you and obviously your entire family system. You don't want to rush it. And I know a lot of times we get into this energy of like, oh, I just want it to like, I just want to heal this. I want to get it over with. And a lot of times it might be a process, like layers and process of like slowly working through things. So we should never rush it and not bring it to our mind, but allow it to kind of sit in our body, in our soul. And it will shift over time without you having to think about it or bring that back. The more we think about it, it's probably actually more like not going to allow the energy. It's going to be counterintuitive. Um, so yeah, and then obviously you can constantly things over time. I have some clients I work with on a monthly basis where we're working on different things. I have packages of like 1 or 4 sessions. So you could be like, okay, I'm gonna work every couple of months, or I'm gonna work, once a year. That's up to you, what you feel that you need to work through. Like in my previous video was talking about the constellation I did with horses. So I moved a lot of energy, and this is why I'm here on YouTube again. It helped move something that felt stuck and allowed me to show up. And I think it was about a month now that I think about it. April, yeah, about a month time. Wow, a little bit less, probably like 3 weeks. That I just felt that pull, and I'm not forcing this. It doesn't feel like I have to do it. I want to do it. That drive came back, right? So yeah. And then obviously with grief and those things, a lot of times we need to give ourselves times to sit with certain things. And then a constellation can help us. Like that happened to me with a friend who passed. And um, yeah, I waited a couple of months, almost a year, actually, now I'm thinking about it. And I had physical symptoms coming up and it helped move a lot, actually. It's what finally kind of helped close the loop with that person that had passed in my life. So it is an amazing tool. And I think it can complement other things, especially like, for example, I tell a lot of clients, like, if you come consulate something, and it's very deep. There could be a lot of trauma, a lot of pain. There could be a lot of things involved, right? Like, like you need to make sure you get support outside of the constellation, right? So it could be with a coach, it could be with a therapist, it could be with a counselor. Just see what you need to help continue to move, not from a mind sense, from an emotional sense, to keep moving the energy because there might be a lot of repressed emotions. There might be things that you have come up after the session that keep moving in you, and you need to process that and move that. Another constellation wouldn't be the answer at that time. It'd be getting the support that you need. And some people are dragging things from years and years and years, their patterns and beliefs, and you need to keep unpacking it and moving it and kind of allowing things to flow. So it's a tool that it can accompany many things as well. Like a lot of times when I'm doing an Akashic record reading, I from like almost the start of my Akashic journey, I was connecting to the family system and I could see things. They would bring me in the timeline of the person of like, your mom's coming up or your dad's, it's still, I mean, obviously it still happens, but this feels connected to your grandmother. And then all of a sudden we was like, connect the dots, right? Things would make sense. And you'd be like, oh, this is connected to this and this, and this is why it's repeating in my life. And wow, interesting. And then I found myself in this weird position of like, I'm helping them move some energy around this, but I'm unable through an Akashic record reading to continue to heal that because it's something so deep, generational, right? That I couldn't do that just with an Akashic record reading. So obviously my guides and my masters are like, this is your path. You need to go this. This is why we're bringing this information. We're helping you. So a lot of times in the reading, they'll suggest a family constellation. Um, and I find like it's a lot of people describe family constellations as like a year of therapy in a session. Like literally, the realizations you have by looking at the issue at hand, moving energy through healing phases, it's you get to a place of acceptance and a place of almost like non-judgment from a session. Obviously, if you're open to that, if you're open to seeing and feeling and all that. Um, but it can be so wonderful if you're really open energetically to healing something. It could be part of that process, right? So I love this tool. It's like I said, helped me so profoundly throughout I think I've been constellating for over probably over 15, 20 years, maybe 20 years. Because I started with family constellations before I started with the Akashic Records. So imagine like this came into my life before. And obviously I'm in Uruguay and it is such a common thing for a lot of people. I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of people are like, well, I'm having this thing, I'm having this issue, I feel stuck. Let's just go constellate it and see if this works, especially with physical symptoms. I find a lot of people that I know, at least here, have tried it at least once, and it's wonderful. So it's such an amazing tool. It is what you need it to be, if that makes sense, because you can constellate whatever you want and you can be as open with it as you'd like. And finding obviously the right energy to work with and making sure that you feel safe with the person. I always say, like, even with the reading, with like Akashic record readings, like make sure you energetically resonate with the person, that you feel safe. All those things are really, really important. I'll definitely do another kind of, I guess I could do another video about like the group aspect of family constellation because the group constellations are like what's coming up is like out of this world. Like they're so incredibly healing. If there are any group family constellations, I do like obviously online, but if you have any physical ones that you can go to where you live, 100% try it. Obviously, if you know that this person that you're going to work with is qualified and all that, um, and that you resonate with their energy. But I do group workshops and they can be just as amazing. So and in this, it'd be kind of the same thing, right? I have Zoom, we all kind of connect, we can see each other, people are feeling into the energy of what they're representing. And it's amazing because everybody gets something out of a group family constellation. Everybody. It doesn't matter if you're constellating or just observing, it's gonna move something in you. Always. It could be small, it could be big. And I've participated where I've actually been a representative, like I represented somebody's family member and also just observed. And I've cried and I've moved things and it's left me kind of sitting with things in a different way. and feeling differently about certain aspects of myself, and just wonderful. Like, it's an amazing tool. I would love if any of you have any questions to just like put them in the comments, and I can do little individual videos, like kind of explaining certain aspects of family constellations. But I will most definitely kind of do maybe like a little series of the three, like a video for each of the systemic laws and what they mean and how they work within, or how we can see when something's not within that systemic law, how it would show up in a constellation, give you kind of some clear examples. I kind of wanted to make this video not very long, and I think I've just rambled on a little bit too long, but to kind of help you understand the kinds of things you can work through, what family constellations is. And I think some of you, if you're familiar, there's like a show on Netflix. I'll kind of link it here. It's obviously very entertaining, but it could give you a bit of an idea. And a book that is in English. There's so many books in Spanish and German. Bert Hellinger was German. So English is a little bit more, it's harder to find books translated in English, but there's tons in other languages. But It Didn't Start With You is a really good book that I highly recommend if you want to kind of start to understand like inherited family trauma and just inherited family things through the family constellations. That's a good way kind of just to start delving into this world of family constellations. And there's some good exercises and things to kind of help you work through things yourself. And the show on Netflix, that's pretty good. I'll link it here on the description. And yeah, I'm here, I'm open. If you guys have any questions, you obviously can email me. My email's on the description as well. And if you want to book in a session, I'm also available. You can email me as well. And yeah, I hope this tool can help some of you because it has helped me quite a lot. And I think some people don't even know it exists. So the same way I kind of brought more awareness to the Akashic Records, I want to do the same thing with family constellations because it might be what you need. So you never know. So thank you for tuning in, and I'm glad to be back on YouTube. And yeah, I will do another video. I was kind of looking at the videos of all my Akashic Records and stuff, and I don't think I'm going to redo them, but I want to do like a little bit of an update on myself and how my channeling has changed over the last couple of years, because it really has. I feel like I'm a very different channel today than I was when I started my journey, and kind of maybe talk about how that happened, and maybe it'll help some of you if you're on this channeling journey for yourself or for others. And I'll definitely have that up in the next like week or so. I'll record it probably tomorrow. But I'm here if you guys have any questions. If you're not subscribed to my channel, make sure you subscribe because I'm definitely going to do more videos, and I'll be around here. And I have obviously my Instagram. I'm trying to post on TikTok, but it's a little intimidating. But hopefully I can get some videos up there as well. So yeah, I'm sending you all a big hug. Take care of yourselves, and I hope you have a good day, evening, afternoon, or night. And we'll see each other soon. Bye.